Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 3. So spoiler warning if you guys haven't seen that yet, and just a reminder if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and yeah. So anyways, this episode is titled Odessa. Like I said, it was Season 8, Episode 3. The episode kicks off right in the beginning with Madison finding herself in the same kind of train car that in the same train car that June was in. And she's about to get experimented on, but there's like some mentions of like them taking her blood, and I guess they're trying to see if there was something in her bloodline that caused Alicia to survive so long with the bite. But then they're also gonna do the radiation therapy on her, which there's a little hint that apparently Finch from episode 2 is radiation is doing well for the bite that he got. And we got a little bit of Finch in it, but there wasn't anything big really with him. Yeah, but it was really cool to see because June walks in and Madison's like Naomi, and she's like, "That's a long time ago," which that's obviously a reference from back in season 4 when she joined the group at the baseball stadium. So that was kind of cool to see that like they brought that little callback back. Um, and Mo and Dove, who we saw, like we know Mo is Morgan's daughter, Dove is the girl that was training her in episode 1. They're on their way to the train car. I guess Mo's suspicious about things at Finch and wants Dove to see that. Well, they end up saving Madison and June and Madison, and the kids get an upper hand. And this episode's really filled with flashbacks, which have some pretty bigger reveals. And the flashback goes 12 years back in time, which had been about when the apocalypse started in this universe. And there's even references of them bombing Los Angeles and bombing Atlanta, which we seen back in the beginning of The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. So some pretty cool callbacks. But in the flashback, we see Shrike, whose real name is Sam, her brother Ben, who goes by Crane, and the original Padre, General Krennic, which it's worth noting, their father seems like a really decent guy. But we get basically the origin stories of Padre from like how it starts out in the beginning. And basically, like he's talking about like linking up with other communities and having people to help and get like trade from so that way they can survive in the long run. Like some of the great things that we've seen with the Rick in the beginning when Hilltop, Alexandria Kingdom, like that was the intentions was for trade. So it seems like he had a lot of similar ideas, and I'm not sure if he was the like one that was in charge of like their army unit, but he was seems like he was way up there, if not in charge. And anyways, like the flashbacks go like they're going the army's going on like a mission to like the cranes, like or not cranes, the shipment containers. And I think these shipment containers are filled with like just stuff that can help people that can sustain like like living um good living quality, I guess. And um Shrike and Crane, Sam and Ben sneak onto the boat, and then they end up like Ben's like, oh, he forgot his binoculars, so he runs into the shipment container yard to go give it back. Well, what we find out is basically all the other troops except for their father had died because it's filled with walkers, and they get pinned by the walkers, and their dad ends up saving them, getting them up on top of the shipment container so they're safe, but he ends up meeting his demise. And that he's like, keep Padre going, and they're sitting up there, and so Ben takes over the name Padre, which was the big reveal when Madison slams the glass. We find out that he's been acting as Padre, and they're like, well, why didn't you tell him that they died? And he's like, well, we know all the kids back there would have been devastated to find out their parents died, so we told them they abandoned them, which is basically what they tell all the kids that they recruit now when they separate them from their kids is they got abandoned. So it's just weird. It's like, I guess since they can't have their parents, they don't want the other kids that they recruit to have their parents either, is kind of like what I'm perceiving from that. But yeah, so there was a pretty big reveal with the origins of Padre. We got some other good connections because not only did June and Madison see each other again, we got a very shocked reaction from Daniel when Madison popped up, and it was just really cool to see them two together for the first time in like, was it almost 4 seasons, probably, maybe more? I think 4 seasons. Um, yeah, so and Daniel talks about how he promised Charlie that he would be there to the end because like he couldn't do for Ophelia, but then Padre ended up dumping him in the swap, thinking he was old and useless, and so he wasn't able to be there for Charlie. And he hints the same for Luciana. but he finds these group of people who are all parents looking for their kids, trying to get them back from Padre. And he's like, yeah, I'm not. Their Padre was right about one thing. I'm old, but I'm not useless. So he's like trained them all into fighters, and they're just a really resourceful, very capable group of people looking with the ultimate goal to help get their kids back. And he's like, I'm gonna help these people. He's like, they're basically family to me, and I'm gonna help these people. Well, in the train car, they like I talked about how they had Shrike Pen, so like Dove is questioned because seeing the walker head on the thing and the bite and stuff. She wants answers too, so they end up going back to Padre. It ends up being June, Madison, Shrike, and Dove. And one of the people in Daniel's group thinks that she might be the mother of Dove, but that ends up being revealed later once they get back and after the big reveal that Ben is actually acting as Padre. They go through Dove's file, and it's actually Eva from season 7, episode 16, the finale, when Madison came back, when she was like holding Madison and Morgan half-ass hostage. They end up killing her when she was going after Morgan. So then it's revealed to Dove that Madison actually killed her mom, which pisses Dove off, and Dove wants nothing to do with it. So, Madison and June end up getting to go back to Daniel, and Shrek had a plan to get them all killed, but then Daniel's people were like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. We're walking away from each other right now. And yeah, so like there's big question if Madison's able to lead this group, and Daniel's like, she can still help, but Madison's like, well, I'm not the right one to lead you guys. And little Mo's like, well, who is? And she's like, your father, which is hinting at Morgan making the big come around, which kind of almost every season, these last 2 or 3 seasons, it's hinted that Morgan won't be the leader anymore, but always ends up still becoming the leader, which, it is what it is, but I'm not hating. Overall, it's a pretty cool episode. At the end, we see Shrike back at the shipment container yard, and it's filled with walkers. So basically, they filled it with walkers to stop people from getting whatever's inside those containers, which I believe is just goods and general stuff that will help like a community thrive. Um, so like Ben didn't go there because he's trying to lay low so his identity doesn't get revealed. And Shrike says, like, yeah, we're gonna get this stuff out, we're gonna expand. And he's like, well, how are we gonna do that over the walkie? And she's like, well, we taught the kids how to fight. Let's see how good they are, or something along the lines of that. So they're gonna use the kids to clear out these walkers, and there's gotta be at least a couple hundred in there, but yeah, it just seems really, really strange. But overall, a really cool episode. It was just cool to see the reunion of June and Madison, Daniel, getting a little bit of like mentions of Charlie and Luciana. So at least if we don't see them this season, it kind of still connects them into the story because like people are like, whoa, what's gonna go on with them? We see Finch for a second. He's looking okay. Apparently, the radiation was doing well, but said how Nightingale and Starlight got reassigned, which is Dwight and Sherry, so that way they can't interfere with him anymore. And he's like, "Well, they saved me," and they're like, "No, we saved you." As that's what Padre, aka Ben, said. And overall, I thought this was a pretty cool episode. I might even say this is like the one I've like so far the best this season. But we are halfway through this block of the first half of the season, so the next one, it looks like Morgan will be going back to King County. So curious to see what they do with that. I'll make a video talking about the trailer and seeing if there's like any episode synopsises or any of that we can try to pull from. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next video.